right, if loving you is wrong, fans, let's get this video to 75 likes. I think we can get 75 likes, but in the midst of next week being the finale, somebody actually pointed this out to me. Jeremy, remember this one blink and you miss moment from one of the early trailers of the season? Looks like Esperanza is crying, like, you know, she's lost something. Let me put it this way. Do you think Mika's going to die? I mean, because Tyler Perry has shown he's not afraid of child death in this show. Not just this show, but pretty much all of his shows in general. I mean, Quincy Jr. on Have and Have Nots. Marcy lost her baby on If Loving You Was Wrong already. Little Lizzie on the Haves and the Have Nots. And the list goes on. And Ruthless, let's not even talk about Ruthless. If you watch the last episode, then you know when I say the word applesauce. Oh my gosh. Okay. But in any case, what do we know about this episode coming up here? We just know the fact that it's going to kick off where we left it last week. We're going to have Larry sandwiched between two vehicles, and the question is whether or not he actually is alive. Now, I'm willing to guess that he probably is going to end up in the hospital. I don't think he'll die per se, given the fact that I'm going to do another video soon here about it. We know that Eddie attacks Ian, so Ian is like, where's Ian going in the middle of the night? Because it looks like he's about to get into his car. Now that could be A, Alex related, B, to drop off the swab he got from the baby's cheek, you know, last week, and he's going to make a late night trip to the lab to drop it off. C, he gets the phone call from, let's say, Mandy, you know, Larry's wife, to say, hey, Larry's in the hospital, and then he goes to the hospital. That's why I think Alex, the baby, he's going to something Alex related, the baby related, or going to the hospital to see Larry. And then Eddie, you know, confronts him because, you know, Ian, right-hand man, so that's why he's going to assume Ian knows where Mika is. Now, this is the finale, so I mean, if Mika gets saved, it will most likely be by Steven and the feds, because if you remember, kind of like I mentioned before in a previous video, kind of like on the Haves and the Have-Nots this season, where Jim had Benny abducted, and then Mitch got his family, the Malones, to save Benny at the last minute before he was about to get shot. So one could argue that before midnight, Mika gets saved by the feds, because we do know in this episode Steven's going to be with Lucian, so it seems to me that, you know, they're going to be pulling their resources together to try to rescue Mika. But I don't know if it's going to happen. I mean, you could make the argument, well, Jeremy, a happy ending. Steven saves Esperanza's daughter, and then Esperanza's daughter learns the truth about who Steven really is and doesn't treat him like a jerk anymore. And that could be a happy thing, but I don't know. I mean, this is the finale. Not everything. Well, I don't want to say this because I don't want to speak it out there, but it's not a guarantee everything's going to be resolved. Because remember, in this episode, I highly doubt that we're going to move past tonight. What I mean by that is, in terms of where the timeline of the show is right now, I doubt that this episode is going to move past the night we're currently in, due to the fact that it seems pretty clear from the previews that the cliffhanger ending is going to be Randall taking Marcy, and then, you know, her fighting him off, and meaning that it's going to be the same night. So when we get to the finale, like I said time and time again, unless we get some sort of epilogue or time jump to see where the characters end up, I don't think that we're going to move past the current night we're in. Like, we might go past midnight, but I doubt we're going to get to the next day. But will Mika get saved? I don't know, because maybe, and I hate to say this, but when you look at Esperanza and Eddie, you have Esperanza trying to separate herself from Eddie this season. And when you really think about it, isn't Mika the only thing tying Eddie and Esperanza together in some capacity? So if Mika's gone, then that means, you know, even less of a reason for Eddie and Esperanza to interact with each other. You know, like Esperanza tried to keep Mika away from Eddie by, you know, filing for full custody, but with the current events going on, you know, is it really going to matter? So if Mika dies, what happens then? I don't know. Maybe Steven and Esperanza get together and have their own kid. Maybe. who's to blame for the death? Obviously Eddie. I mean, literally, and it goes back to, well, it goes to a video I'm about to record now about Eddie killing Larry. Like, let's say if Eddie kills Larry, that's one of the worst things he could do, due to the fact that if Larry's out of commission, who's to say that the people who abducted Mika won't kill her at midnight? Because maybe Larry gave specific instructions like, you know, if I don't hit you up by midnight, then kill the girl, get rid of her. Because that's the or else. They were saying like, Eddie owes us a lot of money. If he wants to see his daughter again, then make sure he gives us the money by midnight or else. So there might be some kind of arrangement already set up that if anything happens to Larry, then his daughter will be taken out. So I hate to say it, I'm probably leaning towards 80% that Mika dies, but then 20% that she gets saved. Because remember, this is the finale coming up. This isn't a spin-off unless we get to, I mean, well, to be fair, Greenleaf did announce a spin-off but well before the season starts, because remember, 2 weeks from today is when Greenleaf comes back. So what do you think will happen? Do you think that Esperanza gets her daughter back? Because you got to look at it from the perspective. Let's look at all the kids here. Peter and Paisley. So Alex willingly walked out on her kids. Natalie and her kids are okay, not counting Joey, because I don't even know if we're going to even see Joey before the end of the series. So basically, Joey is you know, not at the house. He's in jail. Okay, so yeah, you have some kids in the house, and then their mom left Alex. Then you have one kid in jail. Then you have Justice, who's back home with his mom, but then found out about his dad, and that's a whole lot of drama in itself. Then you had Marcy, who lost her kid, and then you have Esperanza, who had their kid taken away. Yeah, I think Mika's going to die. There's no way. Yeah, I think she's going to die. I think 80% that she's going to die. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong, because Eddie will have to learn the hard way. And sadly, the finale, I think the synopsis says something along the lines of, because of Eddie's selfish decision, some people will lose their lives. So I think that Mika will die. Hate to say it, but I think she's going to die. And the end result of that, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Will Eddie change his ways? Will Eddie... I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the bell notification icon. That way you don't miss out when I post new content. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Shout out to my patrons over on Patreon. You can join in for as little as $1 a month. Or if you want to just donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App.